Welcome, everybody, to Define Your Journey. I'm absolutely delighted to be able to welcome you here tonight to see Joanne Cox perform. Oh, sorry, Joanne, I think you've just switched your camera on by mistake.
Also,
I think it's going to be a very spontaneous night, having been given half an hour's notice that we had to change systems. So we will ask panelists, we will tell you when you need to put your camera off and if other people could keep their cameras off in the meantime. And whoever has just come in using the Together 2012 account, could you sign out and come in as yourself, please, in case it stops me from using it. So, as I was saying, I'm delighted that we have Joanne Cox performing with us tonight and presenting her Define Your Journey project. I was saying to Joanne yesterday, I remember back at the 2018 Disability Film Festival at the Old Town Hall, Stratford, we had two of our Vibra bench seats in. And these are wooden benches that we developed in association with artists in Canada. And you essentially, it does what it says on the tin. You sit on the bench acts as a 100-watt speaker, but it also vibrates at the same time, and you feel all of the sound through your body. And Joanne just sat on the bench and sat on the bench and sat on the bench and sat on the bench. And very soon afterwards was able to apply for Arts Council funding with our support and start a wonderful new project of her own, Defiant Journey. And she worked with lighting designer Charles Matthews, who is joining us very soon from Canada, to turn this experience also into light. And I was very privileged in 2019 to attend Joanne's first studio performance at Stratford Circus, and it was just a wonderful, wonderful performance that was incredibly interactive with all of these glowing colours, with our Vibra cushions and our jackets and vibrables and different things you could hold, and also things you could play yourself on the iPad. And what we're going to see later is Charles presenting an app that they've created so that you can use that sort of type of iPad experience as an app on your own phone, tablet, or computer. And at the end of the evening, you'll be at, well, end of the evening, 8 o'clock, in less than an hour's time, you're going to be able to use that for yourself. Meantime, I would like to thank our funders. So we have funding tonight from the National Lottery Community Fund and Arts Council England, for which, as always, we very much appreciate that. I'd also like to thank our access support workers, Chris Burrow from Burrow Interpreting, who's our sign language interpreter for tonight, and Norma McKay from Global Real-Time Captioning, who've been producing all of the live captions for us this festival, and also to my ever-patient assistant, Emily, who's going to have rather a lot of running around to do tonight. I'm just looking at the live chat, so I'd like to remind people you can find the live chat by clicking one of two view buttons on Zoom. If you didn't know there were two, well, that's how Zoom goes. And yes, this is being recorded. It's also being streamed live to YouTube. So that's one of the questions in the chat. So to get to the chat, you click the view button that is usually on the top left corner, and that will just say view live chat. We don't have a Q&A function tonight, so for the question and answer session later, then if we all use the live chat for that, I'll be keeping an eye on it. Glory, if you could switch your camera off, please. Or Emily, if you could switch Glory's camera off, please. That would be great, because he's inadvertently broadcasting to YouTube at the moment. For anybody who's arrived late, you obviously got the message. Zoom has crashed as a result of Amazon crashing, and therefore we're running this as a Zoom meeting on a new link. Thank you, everybody, for your patience. The next thing I want to ask you to do before we get started properly, on your invitation, you should have seen today a reference to, have you got a colourful scarf, a colourful ribbon, maybe you've just got a colourful tea cloth. We had some amazing in-person performances with Joanne, where Joanne herself brought in a whole basket of beautifully coloured scarves and ribbons, and part of the interactivity of that performance was us waving along. And it's just great to be able to put your body into the music. We're all, I say, stuck at home. We're all sitting at home. It's all a bit static. It's not like being part of a theatre performance, but I would really like to encourage you to wave along as Joanne is playing. If you want to be seen waving along, then put your camera on by all means. We will have Chris, well, no, we won't have Chris spotlighted. We will have Joanne spotlighted. So it should, we hope, come across that Joanne is large on the screen and everybody is small, waving scarves around her. But actually, that's not the point. The point is just to enjoy yourself. So if you haven't got a scarf, a ribbon, or a colourful tablecloth, then just go and grab one now while Joanne puts her camera on and we just say hello to each other and take it from there. So, Joanne, I'd like to invite you to put your camera on now. Wonderful. Welcome, Joanne.
Hi everyone. Hi Ju. It's great to see you.
It's lovely to see you, Joanne. And we always used to promote our work as intimate performances close to people's homes, but of international quality. And now we have intimate performances of international quality coming from one artist's home to other people's homes. So I think that's absolutely lovely. And I'm really pleased to see that you've got some of your coloured lights up, haven't you?
Yeah, Charles made them for me, and they react to the cello notes.
So this is going to be a really wonderful performance. I'm going to switch my camera off for now, but I'm going to be waving away. And Joanne, when did you first have the idea of getting people joining in physically with the scarves and things?
I worked in early years, and when I was practicing the songs and the activities at home, I actually thought I really like doing this. And then I decided that all the adults should have a go too. And I wanted to see if it was just me because I'm mad, or like adults would like it. And I think some adults do like it as well. It's nice to feel free, and whether you've got a scarf or a tea towel or whatever, or even if you don't want to fly anything, just we're all very stuck at the moment in this situation and with this awful government and yeah, so feeling of being stuck. So I'd just like to invite you to fly in your mind with my beautiful dragon cello, and fly scarves or socks or anything you like as well.
Could you just bear with me, Joanne? I've had a message to say the recording isn't working, and actually that doesn't surprise me at all. But before you start playing, I'm just going to see if I can get it to work.
Yes, of course.
I'm very briefly going to do some audio description because with all of the kerfuffle, we forgot to do that as well. So let's see if we can get the recording back on. Yes, we have the recording back on. So before Chris and I leave your screens, I'm a white woman with pale olive skin and green eyes behind black plastic glasses. I've got silver coloured jewellery, a purple shirt and a purple trilby and purple sparkly eyeshadow, and that is to match Joanne's dragon cello. You may or may not be able to see it, but would you like to just audio describe yourself and the cello, Jo?
Yeah, I'm a middle-aged white woman with long brown hair, and I'm wearing purple short-sleeved top and purple tights, and I've got a purple sparkly electric cello. and behind me there's a window, and you might be able to see some houses in the background. And hanging from my window, I've got these beautiful lanterns that Charles made for me, and they're turning different colours with the sound.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Joan. I think you must have the most beautiful cello in the world. So I'm going to switch off, and without further ado, introduce Joanne. And Emily, if you can take the spotlights off myself and Chris, that would be great.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for being here with me and my beautiful dragon cello. And I'd like to welcome you to the mysterious and soulful world of the dragon cello with this Enter the Dragon Cave. Thank you. And my next one, I wrote it specifically for Together. It started out quite wild and a bit angry. I've been very angry this year about lots of things, and a certain situation I got very stuck in. But this composition and doing this for Together helped me to move. And so this is called I haven't quite decided the name yet, but it's called something wild, and my cello represents my neurodivergence. Got very powerful emotions, and I'm very extra sensitive as well, and that gets into a label that's a horrible personality disorder label, which is just really rubbish. So my dragon cello is for everybody, and the music and colour and sounds and vibrations are for anyone that's ever been told that there's something wrong with them when there isn't, that there's something about them that's not right, because you're beautiful the way that you are. And let us celebrate who we are and let our souls fly.
Thank you so much, Joanne. That was absolutely wonderful. I was dancing along. So I'm just gonna read you a couple of the comments in the chat, and then you're just gonna have a quick break while we bring on Charles. But Cheryl McClellan says, absolutely beautiful, full of feeling and a deep sensitivity. I love your performance. Thank you, Joanne. Anders Morris says, great to see you playing live and moving to your sublime music, Joanne. And Emily says, I have chills. The energy is incredible. And Glory has very sensibly been mirroring and amplifying all of those. So, yeah, it was just wonderful. And we're going to come back and talk to Joanne when she's just had a little break. So, Emily, if you could take Joanne's camera and spotlight off for her now. And we're going to meet Charles Matthews all the way from Canada. So Charles is just joining us with a spotlight. And if you want to take yourself off mute, wonderful, Charles. So without further ado, as we just lost a few minutes at the beginning due to our Zoom problems, I'm going to hand over to you to introduce your screen share.
Great, thank you very much. I love that, Joanne. Thank you. It's just amazing to hear that live again. To audio describe myself very quickly, I'm a white 40-year-old man sitting with glasses in a messy studio bedroom setup with one of the lanterns behind me as well. But I'm going to try and talk as little as possible and get straight into the video. This is going to be a series of clips that have started as an instruction video to help you get to know how to use the website that we'll be linking to later on. But it also incorporates some performance. And having just listened to that, I'm very glad that I had the thought to just stop talking for a moment during the main demonstration and let the video play out. So there's also a bit of a preview of some of the content from the website. Hopefully this will make sense. And we'll have some time to pick up with questions afterwards. So let's see if this works as well as it did in the rehearsal. I'm going to go to desktop number 1 and share my sound. And here we go.
First of all, you don't need any previous musical experience to play on the Define Your Journey instruments. If you've never played a musical instrument before, or if you've never played music on a computer, then we hope that this might be a nice, comfortable way to get started on that. On the other hand, if you're already an experienced musician, you should still have a lot of fun exploring what you can do. And if you're an artist of any sort and you're interested in finding ways to present your work online as an interactive experience, then maybe there are some ideas that you could take a look at here. As we go through some of the clips, you might notice elements like the audio description, captions, and BSL interpretation that are either too small to make out or might be cut off abruptly. Realize that this might be a little confusing at times, but please visit the website if you would like to experience them properly. Playing demonstration number 1. Getting started quickly on a mobile phone. Before we go into any detail about the accessibility and the various ways that you can interact with the website, I'd like to show you how quickly we can get started. So I've loaded the website and I'm holding my phone in upright mode, but it could be the other way around. I'd better make sure that the silent mode is off and that my volume is up, otherwise I won't hear any sound. Under the main title, the page shows me a few different options for accessibility, and I'm going to leave all of those on for now. There are 2 main buttons on the screen. I have a choice of UK Tree Path and Bedbugs Path in this version. I'll choose the first one by tapping on the button on screen. This has taken me to the page for the UK Tree Path. At the bottom of the screen there are a few coloured bars that I can play with my thumb. As I swipe across from the left to the right, the sound starts to play. After exploring for a moment, I feel like I've got the hang of it. So I'll tap on the top half of the screen to start playing along with the video.
Ancient tree stands thick, and and scintillating in prismatic light like parrot plumage, washing across its cracked and scaly.
And to finish up, I've just paused the video by tapping on it, and I'll press the back button to come back to the main website. And finally, there's an option to leave some feedback at the bottom of the page. I'll just scroll down, tap on that, and fill out the form. That'll help us build the accessibility and the general experience in the future. So that's just a quick look at the website in action, but there are lots of other ways to access it and options to explore. Playing demonstration number 2. Playing with the mouse pointer with Gift Tumour. In this next clip, I'd like to show you somebody else exploring the instrument from one of our development sessions here in Canada. This is my good friend and co-founder of Blurring the Boundaries, Gift Tumour. Every week we have an informal meeting where we try out ideas and invite other people along to improvise. We'd been working together on testing the instrument before, but this was the first time that Gift had ever played along with one of the videos. And he told me afterwards that it was actually quite different from just randomly playing with some music app. I'll include some of his reactions at the end. Gift is playing along by listening out for the video, with lots of space and clicking the different bars with his mouse to trigger each note. And he's sharing his screen over Zoom.
Yeah, like I just felt like I was playing right next to her, and I couldn't stop, and I couldn't help but be an artist at that moment and just like dive myself right into it. It really had like a very spiritual component to it, I found. I was imagining myself going through the trees, swaying through the trees and the different lanterns, and like, what emotion am I feeling throughout that process? So it kind of like, it felt like a movie scene, and I was trying to play what I would want to hear if I'm in that setting at that particular moment.
This is a walkthrough of the main website starting from the front page. I'll select UK Tree Path. On a desktop computer or a laptop, I have a couple of different options for how I can interact with the website. I can use the mouse or trackpad pointer, or I can use the computer keys built in. Later on, we'll also see a couple of assistive technology options. The screen is split into two halves. Along the bottom are a row of coloured bars that represent the notes of the instrument. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in this case. The numbers don't particularly mean anything apart from just how low or high they are. When the page loads up, there are labels showing which items you can interact with. Let's take a look at playing the instrument first. So just like the touchscreen, I can use the mouse pointer to click on these. As I drag the pointer around, it creates trails. And these disappear behind the notes. These trails are really decorative, but if you're not sure how to play musically, if you're having trouble getting started on a blank page, then you might like to treat this as a bit of a drawing exercise. I mentioned that we can also play the notes with the computer keyboard. There are two ways to do this. First of all, I can use the number keys. When I press the numbers, the corresponding bar will light up and play. Here's number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And this time the trails are being generated for me automatically on the screen. I can also use a slightly different way of playing with the arrow keys. Using the right arrow, well, I'm at the end of the line here, I'll just go left. And if I press left, I'm at 1 now. It's letting me know that I've reached the end of the line with a slightly different sound. And the sound of these notes are different as well. They're actually more like a preview. If I press the space bar, then the note itself will play. So that's me pressing left, and then space, right, and then space. This is really just a slightly different way of playing, and we found that people were using the preview sound as more like just a soft alternative to the echoey notes. So why not? Along the top of the screen, I have an option to go back, an option to go to the next video, which at the moment will just take me back to the front page. And then I have a couple of accessibility options that I can turn on and off. So each video has closed captions and audio description. I'll start the video without them, and then we'll hear them coming in. So to start it, I'll either press the play button or I can click anywhere on the screen. Let's bring the audio description in.
Like parrot plumage,
And I'll also click on the closed
washing
captions.
across its cracked and scaly bark, the trunk of a dragon's tail. Net-leaf fronds sway drunkenly in the breeze, like it's the last song of the night with their shadow partners tickling in time along trees' trunk.
I'll turn the audio description off for a moment and just play along.
The world inverts. While pondweed waves in slow, mellifluous submission. Her riverbed, white, bright sky glistens, crooked tree looming above slops in and out of its solid shape. Tree's woody torso rematerializes before fading fast beneath the beckoning arm of a hefty branch, bouncing its wind-powered welcome to the world of the dragon cello.
I'm just realizing that we're reaching, well, when I was supposed to finish up. So I'm just bringing the volume down there. And I'd just like to bring up one more. If you'd like to hear the whole piece, especially without my my additions or with your own additions, then we'll be passing that link on shortly. Here's one last thing. So I'll have some screen reader demonstrations and voice control demonstrations available on the website, but they're a little bit long for now. I'd just like to play a very brief clip of something that we've developed in response over here on a project called Sound Ideas that started with the same web app idea, and we just had 8 or 9 people playing this at the same time. It's a glorious mess of sound. I just felt like finishing on that to show how some of these ideas are being used over here in response to Joanne's work in Canada. And at that point, I think I'll stop the screen share and hand back to Ju. But if there's anything that you'd like to know about those videos or the website itself, I'll happily answer that in real time.
Thank you, Charles. So if we get Charles's camera and microphone back on and ask Joanne to join us. Charles, while Joanne's joining us, I just wanted to ask you, if people want to create a similar experience online themselves with their own art, what experience or knowledge do they need? I believe you're developing, or you have developed, some kind of app for that.
Yeah, I'm just if I share my screen very briefly, I've got a screenshot that might just illustrate this. Will that knock everything out? Or
Go for it quickly.
great, yeah. No, I'll just here we go, desktop number 1. So this is what's kind of under the hood. We haven't used it so much on the project yet, but we have a page generator where you could choose which of the pieces. These are quite old versions. I'll go for Dragon Dance. Choose the instrument tone. So we have a choice of harp or cello. Do we want an echo? Do we want the painting on or off? And then that will generate the page. So I won't play the whole thing. Gosh, that was quite loud from my end. But with that kind of page, it's something that we're hoping to share with people so that they could put their own YouTube videos into it. You don't have to know which musical notes need to go with it. It's a starting point for us to share this if anybody would like to try that for themselves. Otherwise, I think keep in touch would be another good way.
Yeah, and of course, Together is going to keep following Joanne's journey and continuing to do things. We had 2 great workshops as part of our Summer Together program with Joanne, kind of as she was developing this project, and it's wonderful to see it, well, not exactly finished, because these things never are they? But at a further stage of development. Joanne, we could talk for hours. I'm sure everybody would want to, and we haven't got that long at all. So I just wanted to ask you to start with what motivated you to create Define Your Journey?
I was very lucky to have some mentoring from Help Musicians UK, and one of the mentors came up with the idea of doing something interactive online. And then I was speaking to Charles at the end of last year, and he said, "Oh, I've made this online instrument," and I saw it and I immediately sort of said, "I want one. I want that." and yeah, I really wanted to continue people being able to interact with the beautiful dragon cello. Whilst we can't perform live, that was really important to me.
And of course, you are performing live, and it's been just as interactive, which I find, incredibly interesting and very reassuring, it has to be said. I mean, you've got a beautiful acoustics. I've certainly heard worse sound in the Royal Festival Hall. I know it's a bit notorious, but it just goes to show that actually you don't have to be in a concert hall to have concert standard audio. It isn't just about the intimate experience, it's about the quality of the acoustics. So I thought that was wonderful. Do you want to tell us a bit more about your dragon cello?
Yeah, its full name is Sophie Dragon Cello, and it's named after our friend Sophie Partridge, who sadly passed away in 2017. And Sophie brought light to just everybody, and so that I just like that to flow. Sophie's light to flow through the cello.
And I think it does. And do you find that, because I think the dragon imagery is just absolutely fascinating, and you almost look, well, of course, that comes out, doesn't it, in the audio description? You're looking for the dragon in the woods, and you're looking for the dragon amongst the lights. Do you really feel the sort of dragon imagery and the dragon power with the cello?
Yeah, I think that it is actually a Bridge Violins Dragon Series cello, so that's like the official sort of type of cello it is. But it was at a time in my life when I've been fighting, really disabling and really discrimination and just society putting me down, like we've all had in different ways, and came out of those battles at the same time as the Dragon Cello emerged, and so there was a real kind of meeting between it, the brand of it being called a Dragon Cello, and then my feelings of getting some power back through the sound of the cello, where I had been squashed down by various things. So yeah, that it relates to me now personally.
Yeah, and I think it did. I mean, I think you kind of took over the brand right from the start, because I remember you so vividly in 2019 with Defiant Journey, which was very much a kind of personal story as well, about fighting against disabling barriers. And the cello seemed to turn into a dragon and kind of almost soar in that studio. And it was such an incredible experience, where people could walk on and off stage and have the vibra jackets on and hold things that vibrated, and the iPads were being passed around and the lights were all changing colour. It was just absolutely incredible. But what you've been able to give us is almost handing it over to us in this project, haven't you? You know, and you absolutely have. We've still had the wonderful live music. We've still had some of Charles's amazing changing colour lights, but you've handed it over to us to be able to interact with it. And I really appreciated your colleague who said, you know, how almost meditative and spiritual the process was, because even sharing it over Zoom and watching the two of you interacting, I think that really came through. So Julie Newman is saying, I think this work is lovely. The inclusion of the interactive website is inspired. Thank you both for such a wonderful evening. If you haven't got the live chat open, you can get to it through View, not the view that says gallery or speaker, but the other view button that Zoom helpfully supplies us with. You can get live chat up. We've also got the links and the details now live on our website on the event page. So if you click through to that, there's all sorts, well, as Charles has shown, you know, there's lots of things you can do, and we just had a sort of sneak preview of the bed bugs as well. Joanne and Charles have asked me to say they would really like your feedback. There's a link to a feedback form on that page, but it's all ready to go now. We've just got a few minutes left. So one of the questions I want to ask Joanne and Charles is, what's next? Where does it go from here?
Hopefully, some of the next stage will be people being able to jam live online, be able to book onto the website, and then do the doodling that Charles showed before, or lighting up the lights and improvise with whoever else is online. That's one of the things we're talking about.
Sounds fantastic. And what about your performing, Joanne? Are we going to see you performing online around the world next year?
I hope so. Yeah, I very much hope so.
Well, like I say, you've certainly got the acoustics for it. You know, I just thought that was absolutely amazing. Charles, you're in Canada. You've been working with Joanne when you were in the UK. It's not a Canadian accent, if you don't mind my saying so. Or do you just really pick up accents whichever Zoom you're on?
No, I wish. No, when I speak my French really badly, I do speak it with a slight. No, I think it's still an English accent, but I try and do the Canadian accent just to irritate people in French. No, I'm originally from near Oxford, so I moved over here almost. Well, the way it happened was a lot sooner than I expected. Back in February last year, and so yeah, we just tried our best to continue, and things changed as we went, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it's been very cyclical because all of this really started when I had breakfast back in 2013 with
Mm.
David from the Vibrafusion Lab in London, Ontario, indeed. So, and so much of our project was jointly run in Montreal. So, for you to then kind of go from England over to Canada, like I said, it's all very, very cyclical and very, very connected. I'm sure everybody is really keen to get off and have a go in a minute. But finally, Joanne, I know you're part of a collective that's also working on this project. Do you want to just tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes. So the voiceover that you heard, that was Eleanor Rowlands. She's a fabulous artist, and she runs Magical Women, and she's really, really amazing. Kate Lovell wrote the audio description, which is really beautiful and creative. I've been working with Joe Strickland, the digital producer, which is great because I don't know anything about digital, and so I've got that all taken care of, which is wonderful. And Fotini, she's a fabulous manager and stops me going to the £1,000,000. Yeah, she makes sure it's all in order. And I've got Anders as well, marketing, which is brilliant.
And I think it's really nice in the last 12 months actually to see Tate beginning to recognise artists as collectives as well, because so many of us work collectively, whether we're in official collectives or not. So it's 1 minute to 8 o'clock, according to my computer. And like I say, I know everybody is desperate to get off and try this for themselves. So the link you should be able to copy and paste from the chat box. But if not, just go to our website, www.together2012.org.uk. Click on the programme page for the festival and go to Define Your Journey, and you will find the same link there. And I've double checked on a couple of devices while Charles's video was playing, and it's definitely, the links are definitely functioning from Together 2012. And Anders has just put the link in there again as well, if anybody wants to have a look at it. So thank you all. Oh, not quite sure what's going on there. Could we just Emily, if we can just manage to get Pizer off of the screen again, please. Sorry, I'm not sure what's happening there, but like I say, Zoom is having a very, very strange evening indeed. We hope it feels better tomorrow. In the meantime, we're just grateful that this link worked, and so many of you were able to follow us over. So I'd just like to thank Arts Council England and the National Lottery Community Fund for their funding. I'd like to thank Chris Burrow for her tireless British Sign Language interpreting, Norma McKay from Global Real-Time Captioning for our captioning. Of course, a huge thank you to Joanne and Charles, and thank you all of you for coming and being patient with the Zoom stroke Amazon stroke hackers internet problem tonight. Thank you all so much again. We'll keep you posted with news for Joanne. I'm quite sure we'll have her back doing some events with us too before much longer. So in the meantime, check out the website for yourself. And thank you for joining us, Charles. I think it's probably, what time is it with you? Sort of mid-afternoon. So if we say safe journey, everybody to the kitchen, whether it's for supper or just that afternoon, a cup of tea and cake. Thank you again and good night.